if you weren't sitting here and I didn't have that on there, you wouldn't be able to recognize what that was. I mean, I could probably have the biggest, most famous, artsy person that knows everything about art and graduated from college and art and whatever, and show him that and ask him, do you know what this is my representation of? And they'd probably be like, no. You're crazy. I never was good at art. I'm not good drawing. I can't draw a thing. I make a stick figure, look, ill proportioned. His torso is always this long, his head's this small, and his arms are, you've got the side effect. And then I always try to put fingers on it, but then the fingers seem to be relatively as big as his head, which, it just doesn't work. But then there's people like Van Gogh. There's people like, Da Vinci, Michelangelo, Leonardo, Donatello, all of those guys were turtles. That have this wonderful sense of proportion, of hope, of their hand being steady. The Sistine Chapel is probably one of the things that I would love to see. I think that'd be awesome. I want to do a tour through Europe and see, go see famous things. I don't really want to go to France, but I would love to go to the Louvre. Art captures me. There's something in certain pieces of art that just, I don't know, there's something that does it. There's something that, there's an awe, there's a grandeur to it. But all I can produce is this. That's about my best, interpretation of art. I was never the one that drew things. All my friends seemed to. When I went to high school, a ton of my friends went to a art high school that follow art. And there was no way I was getting into that program. As you can see, I've lacked dearly in art. I can't make a square be a square, without a ruler. It doesn't work. I can't draw a straight line. I can't recreate. I can barely sketch, trace things. It's not something that comes natural to me. But I'm still God's masterpiece. I'm still loved and cherished by God. I'm still called to have the strength that Paul has. Because we all are. We all are called to have the same drive, the same passion that Paul did. Paul is, when you look at him and you look at his words and his writings and his love for Jesus, it's amazing. And you think, we are supposed to be that good? We are supposed to be that person? But the thing about it is, whether you're the painting of a starry night in a certain area, or you're lines of watercolor, God's still going to use you. God's still going to be with you. What are you willing to die for? If you have to answer that question with 3 things, what would you be willing to die for? I mean, you probably come immediately a person. Person probably comes to your mind immediately. You willing to die for chocolate? What is it in your life that you say, I am willing to die for that? But I think that's a loaded question. I think it's an extremely loaded question. Because we want to say, we would die for this, we would die for that, But in death, there's a finality. You think, it will be over in so many times. When we start to understand that no matter if we're that, God's going to use us. If we start to understand if we're this or that, we're the same in God's eyes. We're the same in God's eyes. Worth is only as good as the person who is buying it. Let me say that again. Worth is only as good as the person who is buying it. The person who puts out the money, the cash, the beans, whatever it is for it, determines the price of worth for that item. You know, there was a rock star, and I wish I would have known what band it is, bought the first Action Comics, the first Superman comic recently. Do you know, Alan?
What's the guy's name?
I don't know. I don't remember his name, but he's like the lead singer of a rock band. I don't know if it's Cody and Cambria or it might have been Cody and Cambria came out with their own comic book, but it's a comic book. It's the first one that Superman was in. You know, it's the introduction of Superman. You know, it's before it's been estimated at, you know, millions of dollars or whatever. You know, or priceless, worthless. He bought it for $300 and some thousand. How much is it worth? Is it priceless? Or is it $300 and some thousand? If I was to go steal a Starry Night and try to sell it on the black market, a painting that's been priceless, but I only can sell it on the black market for $10, what is it worth to me? $10. What price has God paid for you? You're this or that. What has God paid for you? With full knowledge of what was going to happen, he made a covenant with Abraham saying that if you sin, I will die for you. What are you worth to him? Now, as we sit here on this earth, as we live and breathe, and air comes from our lungs and our heart beats, I said that dying for you was a little bit of a loaded question, because technically we're not dying. We're not going to die for something. So I think it is much harder to say that I'm going to live for Jesus. It's much harder to live for something than it is to die for something.